Neighbourhood Community Centre. So we usually do our free cupcake class there every year, and this was, I think, our 4th year to do it in May, but obviously because of the virus we can't go and do that class with you guys, so we're missing out on the Neighbourhood Community House week. So I thought we'd just do a really quick video to show you how to pipe some decorations onto cupcakes using buttercream. I'm going to show you how to just use a few different tips that you'd usually get in the sets that you get from, like, Aldi or online. So usually they come in a pack of 20 or 24, and you'll get a whole random bunch of tips, and usually don't know what most of them are for, but if you know how to use them, they actually come out to be quite pretty. So I'll show you some really common ones, and if you don't have them, they're quite easy to get in cake shops or online. And then you can have a go at piping your own cupcakes or using them as cake decorations. So we've got our mini cupcakes here, so I'll show you a few decorations on the minis, and then on the normal size cupcakes, we've got our buttercream ready to go. But I've also got some piping tips that I'm going to show you, which are the ones that I will be using today. So we've got this one. So this one is called a 1M tip. Okay, it's a Wilton 1M tip, or it could also be an open star tip, or some people call it a rose tip, open star tip. It's got quite a few different names on there, but it's basically got these slits around the piping tip, and it's just got a very sharp edge as well. So when you touch it on the top, it's quite sharp. That's the 1M tip, okay? There's another tip called the 2D, which you can also use to do the same decorations, but the tip edges curve in quite a little bit, but they will give you a bit of a shorter petal, okay? But I prefer this one, and most of the cake makers use this one for their cake designs, and I'll be showing you that one today. This one here, it's a Loyal 172. So when I say Wilton and Loyal, they're the brands that make the tips, but they can transfer. Like they're really, really similar tips, and they just make sure that it's more the pattern that you're looking for. This one has little tiny teeth around the whole tip on the top, so you can get little teeth that go further down. It just means that when you get smaller teeth like this, that you'll get like a smaller little ball size, and you get like shorter lines. Whereas when you get like a longer line, a deeper line like that, you'll get like longer grooves and longer stripes, I guess. So these are really nice to get, and they come in all different sizes. So that's a smaller version of that one. So that one, really similar, but the tip opening is a little bit smaller, okay? But really just play around with these. Usually you'll find the ones that are quite symmetrical, so tips that are quite symmetrical with the same sort of opening all around, you'd really want to use those to pipe little dots, or even like, little lines or swirls, but you don't really want to be using that to pipe flowers and stuff like that, because they're not really flower tips. There's a whole bunch of other tips that are called leaf tips, petal tips, flower tips, there's Russian tips as well. There's tons of them. And usually if you don't know what they're for, there's little numbers on the sides of the piping tips. So you can always have a look at those, or then just type in piping tip and then the number, and it'll be able to show you what kind of decorations you can use them for. So it's quite handy. And then we've got a petal tip here. Now the petal tip is basically used to make petals of a flower. So you can get these like this, where it's got a little curve on it. You can get them in all different sizes, so really big ones to really small ones. They can be curved like that, or it could be straight as well. So that's the curved one, and the one I've got in the bag here, that's the straight one. So see how the tip, it's got a curved and a straight one? Yeah. So you can use either or. It just means the straight one, when you pipe it, they won't curl as much, so you're going to have to use your wrist a little bit more to curve around the bud. But this one will do a lot of the curving for you, but it just depends on what kind of flower, what kind of look you're trying to get. So these are some of the tips that you'll find in your various sets, especially the 24 packs. But as I said, again, like the little round dots and the little star looking ones, you can use them for little dot kind of piping styles. I think a lot of times when you go to cake shops and they have buttercream cakes that are piped on an image of Mickey Mouse, something like that, they'll use these smaller tips with the little teeth on them to pipe little dots, because you can actually get right into the little grooves and be really particular about what design you're wanting. So that's really handy. Okay, so we've got our cupcakes here. I've just got some sprinkles there that I'll just show you how to decorate them really quickly. So we'll start off with we'll start off with some blue icing, okay? So we've got the 1M tip, which is the open star tip on here. I'll use the mini cupcakes. And what we want to do is when you're piping, you actually want to make sure that the tip for these are vertically pointing down. So on top of the cupcake. So you're not going like that, or you're not going like this and stuff, and you're not holding the cupcake and trying to do all sorts of things. Just leave it on the bench, okay? If you're worried about it moving, put a non-slip mat underneath it, but you don't really need to. And then what you want to do is you want to hold it, not touching the cupcake. So you don't actually want to have your cream touching the cupcake. You just want to go slightly above it. So you're just going like maybe 5 millimeters above it. If you go too high, you'll get a long sort of line and nothing really attaches to the cupcake. So then the icing will sort of fall off or not be as stable. So you want to go just slightly above it so that when you do pipe onto it, it'll stick straight into all the little pore grooves of the actual cupcake and it'll be quite stable. So what you want to do is you want to just go above it. We're going to do a really easy one. It's just an open rose one. It just requires you to have a lot of hand control. So just make sure you're squeezing the cream, but you're not stopping and squeezing at the same time. Just squeeze in one go. So we're going to go from the center and we're going to go anti-clockwise and then just end back to the side there. It'll make more sense once I do it. But you can also go anti-clockwise, but I've always just done it. Sorry, you can go clockwise, but I've always just done it anti-clockwise for some reason. So you start in the middle, and then we're going to just squeeze a little bit of cream out, and we're going to go around the cupcake. So you don't have to be really quick with that. You can just take your time because, again, if you go too quickly, I find that the cream will smudge around the icing tip, and then you'll get these really big, smudgy looking roses, okay? So I'll show you that one again. So that's the open rose. So if you start from the middle and we just squeeze a little bit out and then we go around the cupcake. And usually this part scares people. Just when you finish, stop squeezing and then just let it go and then just pull it away. But if you keep squeezing and then you keep squeezing and then pull away, it will follow you, so you actually get a long trail of cream coming out and you'll end up getting it everywhere. If you're not too, I guess, hyped up about that, so a lot of times when you finish, you'll see like a little, depending on how much you've pulled away, you'll see like a little groove there that you can see where you finished. If you want to hide that, you can pop some sprinkles just in that little bit there so you can hide that part. You don't have to. I don't really ever do that, but it just adds a little bit of texture to it. Or you can pipe a leaf or something like that over it, but that's pretty much how you do an open rose. And then you can also do like ice cream swirls, which is a really easy one. But this one you sort of start on the outside and you work your way in. So what you want to do is you start from any side, okay? So we're going to start from this side here. And then we're going to pipe around the side of the cupcake and then slowly building our way on the top and then just ending like that. So it's quite a lot of cream, but you can never have too much cream. But I usually do these with my Christmas trees. So I do them in green and then I put like little sugar pearls on there and then like little sprinkles to make it look like a Christmas tree and then a little star on top. So that one's quite easy. And don't be fussed about seeing cupcake around, you know, showing around the patty and under the cream. We want to see what flavour the cake is, so it also gives your guests a better idea about what they're actually eating. So don't worry about going in and filling up the whole thing because it looks like a top hat and it actually gets quite messy when you're trying to take it out of the box, okay? So I'll show you that one again. That one here. So we're going starting around the outside and then we're going to work our way in, okay? So we're going to go there and then slowly work our way in. And then to the top, we'll just give it a good squeeze and then taper off. And then again, these ones, you can, let's say, we'll put some sprinkles around it. Just on top there. I find sprinkles on my floor months after a class. And then we've got some purple sprinkles. Okay, you can put that one. So you can put any sprinkles that you like on there. Honestly, I've got tons and tons of sprinkles. I've got too much sprinkles, I think. Every time I go out, I always buy heaps of sprinkles. All right. Now the last one is a really simple one. It's called the hydrangeas. So it's probably a little bit tricky to see because it's just the one color. Usually I do this with double colors. But what you want to do is you want to pipe around the outside. You want to pipe dots, okay? So we're going to put our piping tip onto the cupcake, just slightly above, and then we're going to squeeze and pipe until it curls, and you'll see what I mean when it curls. Once it curls, it looks a little bit more natural rather than having little star dots. So if you were just going to squeeze gently and do little star dots like that, you'll get this, you don't really get anything. It's still pretty like that, but it's not preferable, right? So that's just if you're just squeezing gently because you're not really sure of your pressure, and that's usually what people usually get at home. But if you want to just squeeze a little bit more and wait for the cream when it comes out to just curl a little bit, it actually looks a lot more natural. So we're doing it like this. Come closer. Okay, so we're going like this, and we'll see how it curls a little bit, and then you want to overlap the last one so that you don't see like little gaps in, and then you get like more like a hydrangea look. Okay, and then we can put some sprinkles on there. You don't have to do with the sprinkles if you don't want to, that's fine. But you can see the difference when you don't actually pipe enough, you don't push enough on the piping tip, and that one, it's got a bit more of a curl to it, it's got a bit more style to it, and it looks more natural, okay? But there's nothing wrong with that because we'll also eat that as well. All right, so I'm gonna teach you a really fun way to do some other types of cupcake decorations using these really simple tips. So we're gonna do a combination of a few of these and also using some other tips as well. So we're gonna use the 1M tip again, that one there that we used for all these decorations. So remember, all these were made using the one tip. So we're gonna use this tip, and with our larger cupcakes, I haven't done them really with smaller cupcakes because it is a lot of different tips to go into the smaller cupcake. So they work better on the normal size, okay? So we're going to actually use a few different colors as different color combinations. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off center, so not right in the middle this time to do the rose. We're going to start off center a little bit. Closer. And then we're going to squeeze the cream out. We're going to do a rose, and you can end it wherever you want. It doesn't really matter, okay? So you do that one, and then we're going to get, I'm just using this little tip here with the teeth for the purple, okay? So that's that one there. And then we're going to, so you can go anyway, there's no right or wrong answer. So I'm going to get this little tip here to fill in some of the gaps. So I'm getting that and just putting little dots, some bigger dots, like that, okay? And then the fun bit is using this petal tip. So that's this one here, okay? And we're going to, so you'll find that there is, on the petal tips, there's a thicker side and there's a thinner side. I guess it depends on what kind of style you're looking for. Usually you would face the thicker side on the bottom so that it gives you more stability and a better base so that it stays perfectly on your cupcakes or on your cakes. So usually you'd have the thinner bit pointing upwards. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is, see how there's an edge here on the cupcakes? We're gonna fill that in, but we're gonna do like a zigzag pattern, okay? So we're going to just start from the side there, and this is really good for hiding mistakes. And we're gonna go up and down like that, and you're just gonna make sure the cream fills up all that part there. And then you get this really pretty design. And then if you want, I've got these longer sprinkles. I think they're called draggies. They were from Sprinks. I really, really love these. I think they're called, I actually don't know. But I think they're called draggies, or like they're called rods as well, rod sprinkles. So you can actually put those anywhere you like. You can pop them there, pop a few sprinkles. So you want some contrast, so you pop some lighter pink sprinkles on the purple, and then we're going to get some darker purple sprinkles, like that. So you have a really cute cupcake, and they're really different. And you can do them in all different styles, so we can even mix them up and do that one sort of on this side. Start off with the petal tip in the center, and again we're going to go zigzaggy, but leave a little bit on either side, and then pop a bit of the purple on the sides there. Again, you don't have to worry about filling up the whole thing. Okay. And you can also leave the sprinkles out if you don't want to. So they're completely different, but they're quite pretty, and in a whole box they look really, really nice. We'll do them with some other tips now as well. So these are the blue ones. Move them aside. So the blue ones here, we'll do the same thing where we're just going to pipe a rose. And again, you pipe the rose anywhere you like. And then we're going to get this darker blue one. I love blue and teal. So we're going to get some bigger dots. Look at that colour, it's so pretty. And a bigger one. So you can do bigger to smaller just with the one tip, okay? And then we're going to use our petal tip, which has got the thicker side on the bottom. And then we're going to, again, do ziggy. And it's up to you how tight you want the folds to be, the ruffles to be. Okay, that's quite pretty. Pop some of these sprinkles just on the side there. You don't really need much. Like that. But usually whenever I do these kind of style of cupcake decorations, I always do the rose first, because it gives me a good point in terms of like where am I going to put everything else. Everything else is like a border, a frame for it, whereas the rose is really the center of attention. So we always do that first. Okay, and then we're going to do like that. Okay, there's no right or wrong way to do it. What else can I show you guys? You can use these tips for anything really. These are the smaller tips with the little teeth on there. So experiment with your tips if you can. It's really fun to do it with the kids as well. You can just pipe it all around. Usually if you're going to do something like this with the one tip, you want to do this the border first, the outside first, or else sometimes when we start in the center, we don't actually start in the center, or sometimes the cupcakes don't bake as evenly. And then once you start in the center, it's kind of really hard to make it look symmetrical. But when you start around the outside, it's actually easier to do that. And then what you want to do is once you've done the outside, you just go in between and you fill it up. Like that. Or you can just put a figurine on top of that, or like a name or something like that that you've made. Okay. To do a open rose on a bigger cupcake is a little bit tricky because it's a wider area. So you want to make sure that you've got enough cream in your bag to be able to go one whole sweep around. So, and you don't want to also stop, okay? So you want to actually just go in the center, and we're going to go around and keep on going around until you reach the end, and then you'll get a bigger flower. Okay, so that's the smaller one and that's the bigger one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and everyone, hope you stay safe, and hope to see you guys again at the community center. Bye.